You're watching the moment FBI Director Patel's credibility cracked wide open. Senator Whitehouse just exposed him, claiming court orders that don't exist, running background investigations with suspicious pauses, and maintaining what looks exactly like an enemies list. This isn't just evasion, it's a systematic breakdown of accountability at America's top law enforcement agency.
I think you indicated that you understood that a witness in the grand jury is free to discuss afterwards whatever they told the grand jury. And you then went on to suggest, saying, I can't go into court orders granted by the D.C. District Chief Judge, and you want me to violate a court order. In those remarks, you fairly plainly suggested that there was a court order of some kind that somehow restricted or limited your ability to discuss your own testimony to that grand jury. Since then, that chief judge that you mentioned, Judge Boasberg, has written, and I'm quoting him here, Federal Rule of Criminal Procedure 6E allows witnesses like Patel to divulge the contents of their testimony, meaning that nothing was preventing him from doing so before the committee. Can we confirm here today that there is no court order of any kind that limits your ability as a witness before the grand jury to discuss your own testimony to that grand jury?
We can confirm that pursuant to my action that that grand jury testimony has been released, the transcript.
Let's, in what forum was it released, may I ask?
Publicly.
Okay, we'll check on that. The FBI does background investigations. In the case of a U.S. attorney, Jeanine Pirro, it has come to light that in a civil proceeding, that Fox News executives, prior to her confirmation, called her, I'm quoting here, a reckless maniac who makes, quote, insane comments, and said, I don't trust her to be responsible, and noted her penchant for what they called random conspiracy theories on weird internet sites. My question to you is, did that turn up in her background investigation?
For any background investigation, Senator, we do not discuss those publicly. And for every background investigation, when there's an adjudication, it is not made by me. It is made by the career professionals who run the inspection division and background check system.
Do you know if that information was found? You see, we're an oversight body here, and there are really three possibilities here. One is that the FBI background investigation didn't find that stuff. That's worth noting because these investigations, full field background investigations, are supposed to find that stuff. That's possibility one. Possibility two is that the FBI did in fact find that information and then did not report it to the administration or to the committee. And the third is that you found it, you reported it to the administration, and they went ahead with her nomination knowing that she had been described as a reckless maniac who made insane comments, who wasn't trusted by colleagues to be responsible, and who had a penchant for random conspiracy theories on weird internet sites. Are you saying that this committee does not have any authority or reason to look into which of those things is true?
This committee can look into anything it wishes. I'm telling you that the background investigations that are done by the HRD division are done by career individuals. They do not report the details of those to me. They adjudicate those independently and individually. That's how it's always been done.
What happened to during the pause of FBI background investigations that was alleged in the complaint against you and the FBI by the FBI agents who were terminated. On February 12th, Emil Bovee directed the FBI, quote, to pause any FBI background investigations of Trump nominees until Patel was confirmed, which happened on February 20th, is the general description of what they alleged. Why, do you know, were background investigations paused? Was it so material like this could be scrubbed out of them? And have they been resumed without that pause fully and normally after your arrival on February 20th?
I can speak to the time period since I got there. Background investigations have been ongoing across the board at the FBI.
Why was the pause, do you know?
I was not there.
Wasn't explained to you when you got there? Oh, by the way, boss, they've had an 8-day pause on background investigations. You think that would be something that would be explained to you at some point?
Again, I leave it to the men and women at the HRD division to run background investigations. I do not interfere with them.
I get that. But what I don't get is whether you were told about that pause, and why would you not be told about that pause?
I don't recall that, sir.
All right. The allegation also relates that part of the employee review of senior staff was whether or not they voted for Kamala Harris in the 2024 election. Since when is who you voted for a proper question for agents to be asked?
I don't know what allegation you're referring to, Senator. If it's from an ongoing matter in litigation, I can't discuss that. But what I can discuss is I can only speak to the FBI's background investigations. There are other background investigations conducted across the government. I can only speak to mine.
So just to clarify, I'm not talking about the FBI full field background investigations. I'm talking about internal employee reviews for promotion, for termination, for job actions of various kinds. And my question to you is it now the policy of the FBI to ask agents who they voted for, and since when is who agents voted for a proper question for the FBI to ask?
Taking those in reverse order, it's not a proper question, and it's improper to allege that I'm doing that. And also, at the FBI specifically, under my leadership, we do not ask who you voted for. And just one correction for the record, if I may, Senator, it's Security Division that runs background investigations, not HRD.
Okay. I'll accept that correction. And in the event that we cannot locate your grand jury transcript, just expect a question for the record that will give you the chance to either provide that transcript again if it had been previously provided, or to make the statement that Grand Jury Rule 6E allows you, to the best of your recollection, truthfully, about what it is that you told that grand jury. Do you understand that?
That's why I wanted the transcript released, and we'll get it to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chairman.
What Senator Whitehouse just accomplished was more than questioning. It was a surgical dismantling of the FBI director's credibility using simple facts and legal precision. This exchange reveals three critical breakdowns in how our justice system is supposed to function. First, the enemies list issue. Patel denies having one, but Whitehouse presents the math: 60 names, 20 adverse actions in 7 months. That's not coincidence, it's a pattern. When the FBI director won't acknowledge documented reality, it signals that political loyalty has replaced professional standards. Career agents watching this know their job security now depends on their perceived allegiance rather than their investigative skills. Second, the grand jury testimony deception. Patel claimed court orders prevented him from discussing his testimony, but the chief judge explicitly stated no such restrictions existed. This wasn't a legal misunderstanding, It was deliberate misdirection to avoid accountability. When law enforcement leaders mislead Congress about basic legal procedures, it erodes the foundational trust between oversight and operations. Third, the background investigation pause. Career agents' alleged investigations were suspended until Patel's confirmation, potentially to scrub damaging information about nominees. Patel claims ignorance, but as director, not knowing about such fundamental operational changes is either incompetence or willful blindness. Either disqualifies effective leadership. The Fox News revelation about nominee Jeanine Pirro being called a reckless maniac with a penchant for random conspiracy theories raises systemic questions. If FBI investigations missed this, they're ineffective. If they found it but didn't report it, they're compromised. If they reported it and the administration proceeded anyway, then competence no longer matters in federal appointments. Most disturbing is the allegation that employee reviews now include questions about voting history. Political loyalty tests transform career professionals into partisan operatives, destroying the institutional independence that protects democratic governance. This isn't bureaucratic dysfunction, it's the methodical conversion of law enforcement into a political weapon. When directors evade, investigations pause for political convenience, and career advancement depends on partisan loyalty, the rule of law becomes rule by politics. That transformation makes every American less safe, regardless of party affiliation. Whitehouse's precision here matters because it demonstrates how oversight should work. He didn't rely on partisan attacks or conspiracy theories. He used documented facts, judicial statements, and mathematical patterns. This is what accountability looks like when institutions still function. The question now is whether Congress will demand the transparency Whitehouse requested or allow these evasions to become normalized. Democracy survives when citizens understand these moments aren't political theater, but institutional emergency warnings that demand immediate action.